Hi everyone, it's Chrissie and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the final speed build for our rebuild Willow Creek project for my save file. So yes, this is the final build for Willow Creek for my save file, and honestly I cannot believe that I'm actually posting this video finally, because I have been working on this build for honestly months and months. I think the last time I worked on this build was in March, I think, of this year. So yeah, I started it probably in like February or something, and worked and finished most of it in until like March, and then I didn't touch it for like months, and I finally went back in this week and finished literally like the last 2 bedrooms that I had to do. I only had like 2 bedrooms left to do, and I finally went back in and finished it. And yes, then it took me like 3 days to edit it because I had like 8 hours of footage. So yeah, it's taken me a while to get it out, but it's finally done, it's finally out, and I can finally share it with you guys. So yeah, this is a really big mansion on a 50 by 50 lot in Willow Creek. It's on the Oakenstead lot, and yeah, it's probably one of the biggest builds that I have ever done, like probably one of the biggest residential builds as well that I've ever done. And yeah, like I said, it took me a while. I had a lot of footage. I also had to cut out a lot of stuff. I asked about this over on Twitter, but basically I asked if you guys would prefer to see, you know, one big build, not one big build, but one big video, like one long video with, you know, both the interior and exterior in one video, but, you know, heavily edited. So I would cut out a lot of stuff, a lot of unnecessary stuff and everything like that. Or if you would prefer to see 2 separate videos where I, you know, did the interior and exterior separately, and then, you know, just posted those and had them be a little bit less edited, so they would still be like probably quite long. Like, you know, I actually edited it that way first and kind of just had a look at it for like curiosity's sake. And the exterior would have been, you know, just over 15, maybe like 15 to 17 minutes. And then the interior would have been like 50 minutes on its own. So the fact that I managed to fit in both the interior and exterior into a 47-minute video. Obviously the video, like the whole video, isn't 47 minutes. It's actually way longer because there's a lot of screenshots at the end. But the whole like voiceover portion is like 47 minutes. But yeah, it's both the interior and exterior. Really, really big build as well. But basically, you guys let me know that you would prefer to see just one video that's a little bit more heavily edited. So yeah, it took me a while, but I finally did it. And yeah, like I said, I just had to cut out a lot of different things. I cut out like whole rooms, obviously. So I cut out all of the bathrooms because yeah, they're bathrooms, and honestly 2 of the bathrooms, or like 3 of the bathrooms, are en suites. So this house is actually a 6-bedroom and 6.5 bathroom house. So basically downstairs we have like the biggest main suite that's actually for the oldest brother, and I'll tell you guys about the family in just a minute, but they will have been up on the screen for like a little bit now, but I'll tell you about them in just a second. But basically the downstairs has the biggest main bedroom that has a big walk-in closet, a absolutely ginormous bathroom. I have built houses the size of that bathroom before. And then that's the only bedroom downstairs. Now upstairs we have another main bedroom that's the younger brother's bedroom that also has walk-in closet, big, you know, private ensuite bathroom. Then we have another like kind of main suite type thing, but it's over the garage, and that's actually where the grandmother stays. So she has her own bedroom, walk-in closet, bathroom, everything like that, like just over the garage, also quite big. So yeah, we have those 3 ensuite bathrooms and bedrooms. Then we have upstairs, we have 2 kids rooms and a teenager's room. We also have 2 like full big bathrooms upstairs. Now in my head, the one bathroom like that's actually kind of like at the front of the house is probably the bathroom that the teenager mainly uses, and he's kind of like the only one that really uses that bathroom. And then the other full bathroom upstairs is probably the one that in my head, you know, maybe the 2 kids would share. And then there's another full bathroom downstairs with like a shower tub combo, as well as a like just half bathroom, so just with like a toilet and a sink. So yeah, there's a lot of rooms in this house. This house also has a really big laundry room. It has an office for the oldest brother. It also has like a library room type thing. So basically a room that has a bunch of bookcases, a chess table, a like really big fireplace, some seating, as well as a really big grand piano in it. So kind of like a library room. It has an absolutely ginormous living room that's actually double height. So it has like, you know, the whole big double height windows. That's actually where I used those Moschino windows, the rounded ones. That's actually like the living room area. We also have a big kitchen with a really big like breakfast area type thing. It's kind of the size of a regular dining space, but it's kind of just like the breakfast area, because the house also has a really big like formal dining room as well. They also have, you know, like I said, the laundry area, and then they also have a really big garage that usually in The Sims I don't like adding garages to my builds because they're actually kind of pointless. I mean, we don't have cars, we have decorative cars, but they don't really serve a purpose. And we don't really have any like, I guess, I don't know, like garage activities. So your Sims can't like work on cars or, you know, any like mechanical type skills or anything like that. We have the woodworking table and we have the flower arranging table that I usually end up putting in garages if I do like build them for some reason. But usually I try and avoid those because they're kind of, like I said, garages are kind of pointless. Usually I'll turn them into, like I said, woodworking area, like a woodworking area, or, you know, flower arranging, or maybe gardening, or I don't know, maybe like even a gym or something if I really wanted to add something like that. But in this house, I actually ended up adding a bunch of those decorative debug cars in both the driveway and in the garage. So there's, I believe, like 3 cars in the garage, and then there's just a bunch of garage clutter, like, you know, snowboarding stuff and those big, you know, those big shelving units that have like a bunch of junk and just, I guess, general house clutter type of stuff on it. I also ended up adding in kind of like a little corner space for the grandmother because she's actually really into flower arranging. So I ended up putting in the flower arranging table, a little bonsai bush, or not like the bonsai plant thing that your Sims can use to, I think, learn gardening or something like that on. And then I also just put a bunch of like decorative gardening clutter and decorative gardening shelves and, you know, just fun stuff like that, just to make it look a little bit like, you know, that's kind of like the grandmother's hobby corner or something like that. But yeah, so that's basically the house. Upstairs, we basically just have all of the bedrooms, like I said, and then downstairs is all of like the other stuff, as well as the biggest like main suite. Now, the reason that this house does have 3 like basically main suites, I mean, yeah, they're actually main suites because they all have, obviously, you know, big, it's like a big bedroom space. They all have walk-in closets. They all have ensuite bathrooms. They also all have TVs in them and like seating areas for like watching TV. Even the teenager's bedroom, I think, yeah, even the teenager's bedroom has a TV in their bedroom. The only ones that don't have like TVs in their rooms is the kids, and that's just because honestly when I was doing their rooms I had a lot of other stuff that I wanted to fit in, and just putting in a TV just, you know, didn't make sense. So yeah, they can watch TV in the living room because there is a TV in the living room. But yeah, they can do that. But basically, the reason that this house has 3 like really big kind of, yeah, basically main suites is because the family is an 8 Sim family. And the way that they're set up is we have the grandmother, then we have 2 like kind of like 2 sets of parents, so like 2 sets of married Sims with, you know, their own kids and stuff. But I just want to mention that before I get into talking about, you know, these Sims, before I get off on any tangents or anything like that, I do want to give you guys just a like a quick little disclaimer that I'm recording this at, it's like 10:30, so it's not super late or anything like that. But I'm recording this without like any notes. So usually when I do voiceovers, especially if it's for my save file and I have a family that I've already created and I've built the house specifically for them, usually I will have like pages and pages of notes about, you know, the family, the build, talking points that I want to mention, because I'm not really good at improvising and coming up with, you know, interesting conversation like just off the top of my head. So usually I will write like kind of like cheat sheet notes for myself to just know that, you know, I can talk about this, I can talk about that, especially if I have a family that I have a backstory for and I want to remember their backstory or stuff like that. But for this family, I don't have notes. I have created them, I've given them all careers and skills and relationships, and I've put them in clubs and everything like that, obviously because, you know, they are for my save file. So I believe the teenager is in like the Rebels club. I have like socialite clubs set up for the parents, for all of like the really rich and successful Sims, and they're all in stuff like that. But I didn't make a single note about any of that. The only reason I can remember that is because I just looked at my spreadsheet that I have with all of like the general information for my save. The only thing that I wrote down is all of their names and, you know, their relationships like with each other. So who's married to who and stuff like that. But that's the only thing that I wrote down. As well as for the build, I don't really have any notes for the build that I wanted to talk about. So basically, I just wanted to say that if I end up talking out of my ass for the majority of this video, then I do apologize. But yeah, I don't know why I decided that, you know what, I'm just gonna sit down and do this voiceover. But I think it's probably because if I gave myself the like excuse that, oh, I can't do the voiceover yet because I need to go through and write all of my notes and stuff, then I would just never do it, and it would have taken me even longer to get this video out. But yeah, so just that's a quick little disclaimer that I wanted to give. But basically, back to this family. So we have, like I said, 8 Sims. We have the grandmother, and she's living with this family because her daughter is actually married to the oldest brother. So basically, the way we have this set up is the reason this family is called the Jensen-Hale family is because the grandmother is actually called Catherine Jensen. Now, her daughter, Naomi, is married to Harrison. So Naomi is the Sim on the screen that's right at the left-hand side of the family picture. So the one right at the left. The one that's kind of wearing this like reddish, you know, denim type overcoat thing with the yellow shirt. So that's Naomi, and her husband Harrison is the one next to her in the white shirt with the tie. So that's Harrison, and Harrison's actual like original surname was Hale. So that's kind of where the Jensen-Hale thing comes from, is, you know, she married Harrison, but she also comes from a pretty successful family. So her mother, Catherine, actually used to be a nurse. In my head, her father, who's obviously, you know, passed away at this point, he used to be a very successful doctor, and she kind of comes from money as well. So when she married Harrison, she didn't want to change her name. She didn't want to like just take his last name. She wanted to keep hers as well. So they kind of decided that they're going to hyphenate their names. So he's now Harrison Jensen-Hale, she's Naomi Jensen-Hale, and, you know, their kids also have like Jensen-Hale as their surname. So that's the oldest brother. And in my head, this house has been in the Hale family for like generations. So this is where Harrison and his brother Jackson, who's the other like adult male Sim, he's like the second Sim from the right. So yeah, the one in the brown jacket. So yeah, that's Jackson. He's the younger brother of the two. And in my head, this is where they grew up. So they grew up in this house, and, you know, it's big enough that they can live in it together with both of their families, and they're not in each other's way at all. They kind of like all have their own space. So they kind of just live together because the two brothers in my head, they're very close. So maybe they like lost their parents, when they were quite young, or not young, but in my head, maybe they lost their parents when, Jackson maybe was still a teenager or something, and Harrison was, he kind of like took care of his younger brother for a while before, Jackson went off to college and stuff like that. So they're quite close, so they don't really mind living together. So yeah, those are the two brothers. Now, Jackson is actually married to Madeline, and Madeline is the one on the right with the really bright red shirt on. So Madeline is the only one of them that didn't grow up with a lot of money. So she just took, Jackson's name and, called it a day. So we have Harrison Jensen-Hale, and then we have his brother Jackson-Hale. So those are the two brothers. This is their kind of like family house, I guess you could say. Then we have the teenager Lauren, who's actually the son of Naomi and Harrison. So Lauren. And then we have his younger brother Dion, who's the child on the left, the one in the like black shirt. So that's Dion. And then we have the youngest child in the house, Quincy, who's the one in the red shirt. So Quincy is actually the child of Jackson and Madeline. So he's a little bit younger than Dion. So yeah, obviously because Jackson is younger than his older brother. I believe, Harrison and Naomi are both adults, whereas Jackson and Madeline are young adults. So yeah, so they have obviously a little bit of a younger son. But yeah, so that's basically the whole family. Now, the family dynamics are kind of like, I don't know, they're kind of like, I don't know, not really, there's not much drama, but the family doesn't really like Madeline all that much. So Jackson's wife, they don't really like her all that much because obviously I kind of heavily leaned into the whole stereotypical thing of, rich people and caring about their reputations and stuff. Now, by no means, none of these Sims are like super snobbish or mean or anything like that, but they do care about their reputation, their name, and the fact is that Harrison is actually in the politician career. So the grandmother, Catherine, used to be a nurse. Like I said, her husband used to be a doctor. So obviously Naomi also grew up with a lot of money. She went to like a really nice university, got a degree. She actually works as I believe like an art. I can't remember if she's an art or a food critic. I know she works in the critic career. I think she's an art critic. So she's like really high up in the art critic career. And then her husband Harrison is actually really high up in the politician career. So that's why he actually has the home office. That's kind of like his office. So yeah, he's actually really high up in the politician career. And his brother Jackson is actually I believe like he's an engineer, but he's not like a computer engineer or like a green engineer. He is in the engineer like career, but I think he is in the like architect, like civic planner like branch of that career, which he's also quite high up in because he did go to a really nice university, all of that stuff. But then we have Madeline. So Madeline kind of grew up a little bit, I guess, tougher than the rest of them. She didn't really grow up with money. Maybe she like grew up with like a single parent, like maybe like single dad or something. And she was kind of on her own for most of her life. So she doesn't really have very good like family connections or anything like that. I might create, I don't know, I'm kind of playing around with the idea of giving Madeline some extra family because a lot of the other Sims in this household actually has extra family. So Naomi and Catherine, for example, see, this is what I mean with like not having notes. I kind of just think of something and then I have to mention it immediately, even though it makes no sense. And I'm going like really off topic, but basically in my save file, I have obviously Sims in every world that I've created, but I try to connect them to other worlds through like having them have, family in other worlds, or like if they're older, maybe they have like kids in other worlds, or, stuff like that. So for Naomi and Catherine actually has, obviously Naomi is her daughter, her oldest daughter, but she also has a younger son. in, I think, yeah, Newcrest. She has a younger son in Newcrest as well with his own family that I still haven't built their house for. So you guys have no idea who I'm talking about. But basically, they have family, like I said, in Newcrest. And, you know, his wife actually has family in Brindleton Bay. So usually I try and like interconnect the different worlds and like interconnect the Sims just to give them a little bit more backstory and a little bit more character and stuff like that. If you download my save file, you'll have, you know, not just a bunch of random Sims that doesn't know anyone and they're not connected to anyone, but you'll have these Sims that have, you know, relationships with other households and, you know, other family connections and stuff like that. So I really try and do that a lot with my save file. It's one of my like favorite things about working on my save. So I'm kind of playing around with the idea of maybe giving Madeline like, I don't know, maybe like a brother or something, because I know I said she's not really close to her family, so like to her parents or anything like that. They were probably raised by like a single father or something, maybe a single mother, I don't know. I didn't really think about that all too hard. But maybe she has like a brother or something in another world. I didn't really know where at this point because I haven't really thought about it. This is just something that I'm thinking about right now as I do this voiceover. So I might give her like a brother or something in another world, but that's something for future me to worry about. But yeah, basically, so Madeline didn't really grow up with a lot of like, I guess like the same opportunities, I guess you could say, that the others did. She did go to university. I actually set it up so that it works. You know, it says that she was actually kicked out of high school. So she was kicked out of high school because she kind of like fell in with the wrong crowd. She got into a lot of trouble and she got kicked out of high school. But then when she wanted to go to university, she actually got her GED. So I do have that set up in my save. It will show up if you look at her like, not her Simology panel, but if you click on the Sims with their relationships, then you can see like their Sim info panel. It'll show up there. I did check it. I did set it up. So yeah, she got her GED and then she went to, I can't remember if she went to Brightchester or Foxbury. I think Jackson went to Foxbury and he studied like economics or something. And then Madeline, I think also, no, she went to Brightchester, but she got I think psychology. I think she studied psychology or something. I don't know. But anyway, she basically went to Brightchester, but she didn't go for like an honors degree. She just got the like regular degree thing. So she did get a degree. She does, you know, work. But she's actually in the criminal career, and I think she's like a minor crime lord or something is her like career title at the moment. And in my head, it's not because she wants to be in that career. She actually has the musical genius aspiration. So she actually is really into music and she wants to like, she's always wanted to like make a career out of it. She just never had the opportunity to. So she kind of fell into the criminal career, and I don't know, maybe it was like a family thing or I don't know what, but basically she fell into the criminal career. She's still in that career, and Jackson doesn't really mind. He loves his wife. He loves her a lot, and he kind of like he usually argues with his brother about this, because his brother and, you know, his sister-in-law and even like, you know, his sister-in-law's mother, none of the other adults in the house basically like Madeline at all, because, you know, obviously, you know, Catherine and Naomi think it's bad for Harrison's career. Harrison also thinks the same thing. Like, it's kind of like, it looks bad to have a politician with a criminal in the family. So yeah, that's kind of why they don't like her, not because of the kind of person she is, but just because of like her job. So I don't know, if you download these Sims and this house or my save and you end up playing with this family, and, you know, maybe you want to change Madeline's career to something that she actually wants to be doing, maybe at some point she'll find the courage to like quit her job and do something that she's actually passionate about and cares about. Because yes, in my head she's been in the criminal career for years now at this point. Maybe she got into it when, you know, she was a teenager or something, and she's just never gotten out of it for like whatever reason. So maybe if you guys play with them, you can have her like quit her career and actually do something that, you know, she's passionate about and that she wants to be doing. So like maybe music or, you know, anything really. Obviously you can download these Sims and completely change up their careers and everything like that, and their story if you wanted to. This is just the kind of like the story that I worked off of when I was creating them and creating their house and everything like that, setting them up for my save and everything. So yeah, that's kind of just my idea for this family. Now, the kids actually have, I gave, the two children are actually very similar. In my head, they're actually quite close in age as well. Maybe they're like a year or two difference between their ages. So they're actually quite similar in personalities as well. They're both very outgoing, very outdoorsy as well. They're both really into snowboarding and, you know, being outside, doing sports and, you know, just stuff like that. They're both very like active and outdoorsy and outgoing, but they do have some different interests. So Dion, like I said, who's the one on the left, he is actually in the drama club, like the drama club after school activity, whereas Quincy is actually in the scouts. So they're actually also the heads, like the leaders of a couple of clubs that I set up for my save. So like a drama club, drama kids club, and like a scouts club, so that they can have like hangouts outside of just like after school activity stuff. So those clubs actually have a ton of different kids from Willow Creek in them. So, you know, kind of just to make it look a little bit more realistic, like, you know, having a scouts, you know, troop, for example, that actually hang out after school and hang out over the weekend at maybe like the park or something like that. So yeah, I do have all of that stuff set up. But basically they're also really into animals. So you'll notice that once we get to the kids' rooms upstairs, I think we do Quincy's room first. Yeah, we do Quincy's room first. And his room actually has a little fishbowl in it, and he also has a frog on his desk. So because obviously this household is 8 Sims, like ideally I would have liked to have given them like actual pets, like maybe a dog or a cat or something. But because this house already has 8 Sims in it, I like couldn't do that. So I ended up giving the kids some like, I guess, object pets, if that makes sense. So Quincy has the fish and the frog. I believe the fish is called Tartus or something. It's a tetra fish, so his name is called Tartus. And then Dion actually has a hamster. So I never use the hamsters or like rodents from my first pet stuff. I never do it. I use a lot of the other stuff from that pack, like build stuff, but I never use the actual hamsters and stuff. So for a change, I decided to use them. So I originally in the video, I think I placed down a hedgehog, but before I went through and took the screenshots, I actually replaced it and gave him a hamster. So he has Hammond the hamster. And yes, I did get Hammond's name from Top Gear, from the show Top Gear and the Grand Tour and stuff. So if you guys have ever seen that with like Hammond, May and Jeremy, like Hammond, May and Clarkson, yes, I did get my child's name, like child's hamster's name, from Hammond, because they always, Jeremy and James always call Hammond like the hamster. So yeah, I totally got that from that. If you've never seen Top Gear or the Grand Tour, then you have no idea what I'm talking about. But basically, it's a really funny show. It's like a car program. So obviously, I don't think a lot of people that aren't into cars will have seen it. But it's really funny and I absolutely love it. It's one of my like all-time favorite like comfort shows, which is really funny. But yeah, we have that. So yeah, they're both really into animals. They have all of that stuff. I also tried to personalize their rooms a tiny bit. So they both obviously have clutter and a lot of like sports stuff and, you know, stuff like that all over the place. But Dion is a little bit more into art and stuff, so he has a couple of like art projects, so like the bridge art project that came with Parenthood. That's in his room, where not Dion, Quincy, sorry, Quincy is the one that's into art, whereas Dion is a little bit more into like mechanical sciences stuff. So he has a little robot that you can build from Parenthood. He actually has that in his room, and his room is also a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more not really neat, because both of their rooms have a ton of clutter and stuff just lying around. But he's the one that's a little bit more into like school stuff, whereas Quincy is a little bit more like, you know, artsy, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it, but that's kind of the idea that I went for. And both of their rooms actually have very similar color schemes as well. I actually ended up using red for like the majority of the stuff in their rooms, but Quincy's room is actually more like red, orange, and like yellow and white, whereas Dion's room is more red, black, and white. So a little bit more, I guess, mature, maybe. Like, obviously, like I said, he is the older one of the two, so his room does look a little bit older than Quincy's does. And then we just have the teenager Lauren, whose bedroom is probably the darkest room in the entire house. He's very gothic, basically. He's very dark. His aspiration in life is actually to become a vampire. So I think it's like to become a master vampire or something like that. So yeah, he actually wants to be a vampire. He's like super goth, super like I don't like people. I don't want to be around people. Leave me alone in my little dark cave of a bedroom. So that's very much his like personality, I guess you could say, or like his style. He also wears like all black. He's in the Rebels Club as well, and yeah, he's also really into gaming. So I did give him one of the big gaming computers from high school years. I also, like I said, gave him a TV in his bedroom, as well as a game console. So yeah, he's really into gaming. He probably spends most of his time in his room. When he's at home, he doesn't really like spend time with his brother or the rest of his family all that much. But yeah, because all of the Sims, like all of the adult Sims in this house, they all have careers, and in my head, they're all pretty busy. Like, Madeline is probably the one that's at home the most. I mean, I know Jackson probably would like being home a little bit more, but maybe his career is just super demanding at the moment. But the other two, like Naomi and Harrison, they're both very attached to their careers, and they're both like they're not really like around a lot, if that makes sense. So the whole family is actually really into snowboarding, and they all have like either a pretty high snowboarding or skiing skill. And that's because in my head I figured that these Sims would probably own like a vacation home. Obviously in the Sims you can't own vacation houses, you can only rent them. But in my head, they probably own a vacation house in Mount Kamarebi, probably like on the mountain. And they go there for vacation, for like family vacations, probably at least once or twice a year. And that's probably the only time that they ever really spend with their kids. So that's kind of like the only, I guess, family quality time they ever spend with their children. So yeah, there's a lot of like skiing stuff all through the house, all in all of the kids' bedrooms. There's also, like I said, in the garage, there's a lot of like ski clutter and like, you know, snowboards, you know, skis, all of that stuff like stacked and everything. So yeah, the whole family is super into like going skiing, snowboarding, rock climbing. That's kind of, like I said, the only family time that they ever get together. So yeah, that's just something that I wanted to mention. And yeah, that's basically, I think, everything about the family. We obviously have the grandmother. Now, she is retired at this point. I did actually have her register as, you know, I put her in the doctor career. I like cheated her career up to being like, I believe like an RN or like a nurse or something, and then I had her retire. But unfortunately, the way the Sims work, if your Sim retires from a career, the career just disappears from their like career info panel. So it won't show you that, oh, this sim used to be like in the business career or in the doctor career or whatever. Even if your sim asks them what, if your sim goes and asks them what, what they do for a living, what their job is, they'll just tell you that they're unemployed, which is actually really irritating because a lot of the time, like elder sims and stuff will retire for, whether I'm playing with them or like just doing storytelling or whatever. And obviously, if you've retired from a career, you're not just going to go ahead and tell someone that, oh, I'm just unemployed. You're going to tell them that, oh, I'm retired and I used to work in like XYZ career. You're not just going to say that I'm unemployed. So that's really irritating. And the way I kind of worked around that for this is I actually had her, like I said, in the doctor career, like cheated her career up, had her retire. And then I went ahead and I actually had her register as self-employed. So with the base game employment feature where you can have your sims like register as basically anything, you can choose their career title, you can choose like their career description and everything like that. So I basically had her register as a retired nurse, and then I put in a little description and everything. So if you go up to her in my save file and you ask her, what's your job, she'll actually tell you that I'm a retired, it'll show up that, Catherine is a retired nurse, for example. So that will actually pop up and tell you that, which is something that's really cool, and I probably should remember to do that for all of the other retired sims in my save as well, because it makes sense. It makes sense that, they would tell you that they're a retired, nurse or a retired businessman or, whatever they were, when they were younger. So I did have her set up as that. And she's probably the one that spends the most time with all of the kids because, she's probably home the most because she doesn't work anymore. She is part of the like older socialite club with, a lot of the older socialite women in my save file that, in my head, it's kind of like a little, I guess they come together, drink tea or coffee or whatever, or have like a stronger drink or whatever, and they kind of talk about, managing their families. They're very much those like almost like helicopter parents where they like to have input on everything that their family does. They're kind of like the matriarchs of their family in a way where, they don't really make the family never makes a big decision without consulting grandma, if that makes sense. So yeah, she's kind of like a part of a club like that. But she does spend a lot of her time at home with probably the kids, probably more so with the younger grandchildren. Even though, obviously Quincy isn't technically her grandchild because, she's Naomi's mother, not Harrison's mother. But she probably sees Quincy also as like a little grandson or something. Because, yeah, she probably, like I said, spends a lot of time with him as well. So, yeah, she's really close to all of the kids. And yeah, she spends a lot of her time at home. She's also really into knitting. That's probably something that she picked up, maybe later in life. So I did make sure to give her a little knitting basket in her bedroom once we get to it. And I also gave her a violin in her room because she's also really into playing the violin. She probably never, had time for it when she was younger and she was working as a nurse. But, as she's gotten older, she's actually found time for those hobbies that she had. But yeah, that's basically the whole family. We're just working on Dion's room at the moment. We've already done Quincy's room and, Harrison's like main bedroom. We've done Jackson and his wife's bedroom as well. And the only other rooms that we're going to be doing is this bedroom for Dion. Then we're going to move on to Lauren's bedroom and then Grandma Catherine's bedroom. Now, like I said, I did have to cut out a lot of this video. So I did end up cutting out a lot of like, you will have already seen it, but like cluttering bits where I did cluttering or, where I just couldn't pick something. I also ended up cutting out all of the bathrooms, like I said, and the upstairs hallway, the downstairs entryway, and just a bunch of other smaller stuff. So like the laundry room, I didn't show you. I didn't show me doing the like garage either. But I did include absolutely everything in the screenshots at the end. So yeah, do stick around for the screenshots, because yeah, I did take pictures of absolutely everything. So there's a good like 3+ minutes of screenshots at the end of this video. So yeah, you can see absolutely everything. You can also see some close-ups of certain things. You know, if the video is going a little bit too fast, then yeah, you can stick around for the screenshots. I'll show you everything, all of like little details and everything like that is in the screenshots. And also at this point, so this bedroom is actually the point where I picked up again, where it's kind of basically I did all of like the whole house. I did the 2 kids' bedrooms and then I left it. You know, that was way back in March. So from the start of this bedroom is kind of the new footage that I have that I did, you know, this week. So if my reshade looks a little bit different from, you know, compared to the first half or like to the first part of this video, then that's because it's been a couple of months since I did the first part of this. And also I recently switched over from reshade to G-shade actually. So I'll put a link to like the G-shade website in the description, as well as obviously to the preset that I'm using. I'm still using Nixel's Boho Dreams preset that she created for reshade, and reshade presets actually work pretty well with G-shade. I haven't run into any issues. A couple of the filters and stuff are a little bit different, and you know, a couple of the shaders have different names, but so far I haven't really had any issue with it at all. Obviously, I did go through and I took Nixel's Boho Dreams and I did edit it a little bit. I added obviously a lot of those MXAO shadows. Now, in the video, I should mention this. I'll put both links in the description, but for this video, I used Nixel's... What did I use? I used her Boho Dreams is the one that I used for the screenshots at the end and for the little intro like clip thing at the beginning. And the screenshots is Boho Dreams. But the actual building, so like this building footage that you're seeing, I actually recorded using Nixel's, I think Solar Breeze. Like Solar Breeze version 2. I could be getting the names mixed up a little bit, but I'll put the correct name and the download link in the description. But basically I used a different preset for like actually building versus, you know, taking the screenshots, just because when I started this build I was using the Solar Breeze preset and I didn't want to go in. Now that I've changed, you know, I've started using Boho Dreams, I didn't want to go in and have like the last, you know, 7 minutes or so of this video have like a completely different reshade preset, because you can definitely see the difference. So I just decided to use the older preset with, you know, all of the MXAO shadow edits that I did, and then I just took the screenshots with my like preferred preset at the moment, which is Boho Dreams, that again I've just edited a little bit to add a lot of like MXAO shadow things, because I really like the way that looks. For some reason, I don't know, I like having the more defined and like darker shadows. So yeah, that's just something that I should mention. But both links, like both reshade presets, their names will be in the description, as well as the download links. And like I said, I am using G-shade, but I'm using these presets with G-shade, and I haven't run into any issues. I'll also leave a link down below to Ocean Sims. She actually did a video a couple of weeks ago about, you know, switching to G-shade and installing it, how to get your reshade presets to work with it, and all of that stuff. So it's a really easy tutorial video to follow. It's super informative. It's not super long or anything like that either. It's really easy to follow. It's actually the one that I followed to like set it up, because I've never used G-shade before. So yeah, I did have a look at that. I watched it, followed it, all of that stuff, and I'll leave it linked down below as well. I'll leave the tutorial that she did for G-shade linked below, because in case you guys want to go ahead and check it out, maybe switch over to it. So far I've only done this build with G-shade, so I haven't really had a chance to play around with it a lot. But I will mention that my computer actually struggled a lot less running this build once I switched over to G-Shade versus having my Reshade installed. So it seems like it's a little bit easier for your computer to run as well. So yeah, that's a really big bonus for me because my computer isn't top of the line or anything like that. So yeah, doing anything that I can to kind of lessen the load on it, if that makes sense, is actually a really good thing. So yeah, I'll leave all of those links down below. But we're working on the final bedroom, which is the grandmother's bedroom, and then that will basically be it. So I did also go through off camera before I actually started this like part of the recording. I actually went through and swapped out a couple of items in some other rooms and stuff for some high school years items and just some other things that I thought would work a little bit better. But you will see all of that in the end in the screenshot. So if there's anything that I changed, you know, that I showed in the video but that I changed later on, then you'll see that in the screenshots at the end. But yeah, we're basically done with this build. I cannot believe I did an almost 47-minute voiceover, and my throat is absolutely killing me at this point. Apologies if this voiceover was very rambly or if I got very croaky through like half of this, because my throat really is killing me at this point, and I can hear that I am sounding a little bit more like I kind of sound like I swallowed a frog, if that makes sense. So apologies for that, but it's just because I'm not used to talking for this long. But yeah, so we're almost at the end of this video, so I'm just gonna wrap it up right here. If you guys want to download this build, it is up on the gallery. All of the download information, download links, everything will be in the description. The tray files will also be up for channel members, and then in 3 weeks it will be up for like the public if you guys want to download the tray files as well. It's also completely custom content free, both the Sims and this house, because my save file is custom content free. And yeah, if you want to download them, feel free. I did use a ton of different packs, obviously, because again, save file, ton of different packs. And I've also already posted an update on my save file on the community tab, along with a picture of Willow Creek now that it's done. So I'll leave that linked below as well, because yeah, just a quick little update on save file stuff. It's almost done. We're getting so close to me releasing the first version. But I hope you guys enjoyed this build. If you did, you know, do all of the YouTube stuff, and I'll see you all in my very next video. Bye everyone.
I think that I'm going to hiding somewhere by a gated star. Baby, they ain't never gonna find me. I'm a renegade. I could be the one who saved you from this hard place. We could be as one and we'll escape. We could run away, we don't gotta stay. I can feel it, it burns inside me. Take away the pain, we can go insane. I can feel it, it burns inside me. We could run away, we don't gotta stay. I can feel it, it burns inside me. Take away the pain, we can go insane. Trust me, I won't let you down. I won't let you down. Yeah, I won't let you down. I won't let you down. Oh, I won't let you down. We could have the world to ourselves, going to a place that's far, staring at the stars for hours, 'cause you're a renegade. I could be the one who saved you from this hard place. We could be as one and we'll escape. We could run away, we don't gotta stay. I can feel it, it burns inside me. Take away the pain, we can go insane. I can feel it, it burns inside me. We could run away, we don't gotta stay. I can feel it, it burns inside me. Take away the pain, we can go insane. Trust me, I won't let you down. I won't let you down. Yeah, I won't let you down. I won't let you down. Oh, I won't let you down. never get to open 'cause it's too late. I could be the one who saves you from this place. Baby, they ain't never gonna find me, find me, find me. We could run away, we don't gotta stay. I can feel it, it burns inside me. Take away the pain, we can go insane. I can feel it, it burns inside me. We could run away, we don't gotta stay. I can feel it, it burns inside me. Take away the pain, we can go insane. Trust me, I won't let you down. I won't let you down. Yeah, I won't let you down. I won't let you down. Oh, I won't let you down.
Right now I'm standing in a corner. I see you from across the room. It's kinda crowded here, but I know you see me too. Everybody's singing oh, everybody's singing oh. I don't know what it is about you. It must be in the way you move. Just say you want me to. We got nothing to lose. You're looking so old. You're looking so old. Now I'm moving closer to you, and it's getting dark in this room. Tell me what you wanna do. Baby, let me love you, let me love you. Let me love you, let me love you. Baby, let me love you, let me love you. Let me love, baby, let me love you. Just say the word and we can leave this place. I'll take you anywhere you want. As long as we're together, everything we'll do. You got me going oh, you got me going oh. Now I'm moving closer to you, and it's getting dark in this room. Tell me what you wanna do. Baby, let me love you, let me love you. Let me love you, let me love you. Baby, let me love you, let me love you. Let me love, baby, let me love you, let me love you. Let me love you, let me love you. Baby, let me love you, let me love you. Let me love, baby, let me love you. When I look in your eyes, I don't know how, but it feels like I'm drunk on you. It's almost like you make me fly. And when I look at you smile, I don't know how, but it feels like I'm drunk on you. It feels like I'm drunk on you. It feels like I'm drunk on you.